Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. It is January 10th. Tonight I'm going to be doing problem 1773, count items matching a rule. You're given an array of items where each item's I contains an array of type, color, and name, which describes the type, color, and the name of the ith item. You are also given a rule represented by two strings, rule key and rule value. The ith item is said to match the rule if one of the following is true. The rule key equals the type and the rule value equals the type. The rule key equals the color and the rule value equals the color of the ith index. And the rule key equals the name and the rule value equals the name index at the index. Return the number of items that match the given rule. So here is an array of arrays. The rule key shows that the color the color is the first index in the array. It is always the first index in the array. So the rule key equals the color and the rule value equals silver. And there is one item matching that. Okay, an example 2. The rule key equals the type, which is the 0th index in each array, and the rule value equals the phone. There are two items that match that rule. And there's only going to be one rule key and one rule value, so that is nice. Note that the item computer silver phone does not match. The rule key is type, so the 0th index will always be the type. Okay. So that's interesting. And the rule value equals the phone. So maybe I need a way to maybe create a dictionary where the key is the type and the type being the 0th index and the value is the amount of, or not the amount, I mean, maybe it could be overkill, but let me just see. 3 dictionaries where the type is one dictionary. The type is one dictionary, and the key is the one key is perhaps the phone, and the value is the number of occurrences within the total, within each array, the total amount of arrays. So for example, we see that the type phone, we have a dictionary type, phone appears twice within all of the items, so that'll be 2. And there's another type called computer, which appears once. And then we do the same for colors. Color is blue, which appears once. Silver appears once. And gold appears once. And so we create a dictionary for each type, not each type, each description of the item. So there'll be 3 dictionaries. So then when we want to check for the amount of items that match the rule, such as the type, phone, we see that there's 2. So that's straightforward. Yeah, I think that's pretty straightforward. Whether or not that's a bit unnecessary to create 3 dictionaries is entirely possible. I am too fatigued to think any deeper about it, though. So we'll say excuse me. We'll say that, and then we'll also say type equals a dictionary. We'll say item type rather equals a dictionary. Colors and name. So 3 dictionaries. Say for item in items. That's fine. We'll say for item, color, item name, and items. We'll say item type, item equals item type dot get item, or if item does not exist within the dictionary, then we'll default to a value of 0 plus the current value. So if the item, such as phone, initially it's not within the dictionary, so this will default to 0 plus 1, so there exists 1 item of 1 phone item in the dictionary. If there's 4, for example, we get 4 from this value. 0 is the default if it doesn't exist. Otherwise, we get the amount by calling item plus 1, so it'd be 5. Okay, and we can just do the same for each one of those then. Okay, and then we've gotten all those values now within the dictionary, and now we just need to use the rule key and rule value to determine the number of items, to find out the number of items that match those rules. So we'll say if the rule key equals a type, that would be item type dictionary. Wait a second. This is actually colors, and this is name. Okay, so the rule key equals the type, and the rule value equals the phone. So we can just hard code that by saying if rule key equals to type, do that, else if the rule key equals to color, do something else, else the rule key then equals the name. So then we'll get the respected value from that dictionary. Or do you say it the other way? We get the value from the respected dictionary. Whatever. So the rule key equals the type. So we'll say return item type rule value. That will return an integer. Return colors rule value, else return name rule value. And should none of those return at all? Should none of these conditional statements, well, no, it's guaranteed, right? It doesn't say it's guaranteed. Rule key is equal to either type, color, or name. So it is guaranteed then. Okay, but we'll just put a -1 anyways. Okay, so let's check this. So we've iterated through the items. We've added the values to the dictionary. And then we check the rule key. Yeah, that should work. So rule key equals type. And then rule value equals phone. We check phone within the item type, and that would return 2. So that looks good to me. Rule value equals I. See, in the, is that, wait a second. If rule key equals color, rule value Hmm. Row key equals color, which will be the first index. This is the first index. And it's not in there. So this value of II is not within any of the items in the first index. So we'll say return 0 if row value not in colors, else we'll return colors row value. I don't like that they did that, but you know, I get it. I get it that that's how they want to play. Okay, that should fix that at least. Wow, okay, not that efficient. Interesting. Let me run it again, because sometimes, you know, that's pretty bad in terms of runtime and memory, but if we run it again, maybe we just got a bad connection. Okay, well, in that case, let me spend a few more minutes to see what else I can come up with. Okay, so a better implementation is that none of this is actually necessary, because we have the row key and we have the row value. So why not just iterate through the items and then check each one of them for that value? So if color will always be in the first index and type will always be the 0th and name will always be the second index within the array, then I just check if the row key equals to type. I'll just check the type, and then I'll increment some count to show that the rule matches at least one item. So that's what I'll do. So I'll say count equals 0. I'll say for item, no, let me rephrase that. I'll say item type, item color, item name in items. Okay. If row key equals to item type, yes. And role value equals to item type count plus equals to 1. Yeah, that's definitely a lot simpler. Role key equals to, oh, and that's not item type actually, that's just going to be type. Else if the role key equals to color and role value equals to item color, count plus equals to 1, else elif role key equals to name and role value equals to item name, count plus equals to 1. And because you can do all these operations and they contain the same, we're incrementing the same variable based on these conditions, we can just eliminate doing all of those conditional statements and instead just doing an OR operation between them. I think there's a, let me fix that, put myself right there. Yep. What is it? I think if I do a forward dash, there's 2 forward dashes, which means you can go to the next line. I'm not sure, but this should be satisfactory. Okay, so if the rule key equals the type, and the role value equals the item type, or the rule key equals the color and role value equals the item color, or role key equals the name and role value equals the item name increment, and then we return the count. Okie dokie. Well, that concludes that. I thank you for watching. There's more than one way to solve a problem, and what did we learn from that? You know, I should have, my immediate answer was a solution, not the solution, and instead of going through and coding it right away, I probably could have taken a few more, well, I definitely could have taken a few more minutes to think about other solutions. That's what I should have done. Unfortunately, I'm a little fatigued right now, but that's no excuse. Other than that, I think I did a good job in I guess looking at other ways to solve the problem and then refactoring the code. Yep. Okay, well, I'm satisfied. I'm also thankful that this is only an easy problem because another medium problem that I couldn't solve, oof, if I would have gotten that, then, uh, you know, that would have slowed down my momentum a little bit. But I hope you enjoyed. You know what? Let me just copy and paste this into LeetCode and see what they say. reducing branching and making the solution more scalable and Pythonic. Index equals the key index of the rule value. So we can determine that quicker and we don't have to check every conditional statement. Return the sum 1 for item in items if item of that index, that's really nicely put actually, equals the rule value. I mean, yeah, even this styling is a lot better. I mean, that's one of those things where you are trading you're trading style. This just looks it's a lot nicer to look at, so that's a better solution than trying to reduce the amount of lines in your code. That's one of those examples. Thank you all for joining me tonight. I hope you had a fantastic night. I hope things are going great, and yeah, let's keep working towards our goals. This is one of those nights where I definitely didn't want to do any programming, but 20 minutes, 30 minutes, not that big of a deal. Okay, take care.